Good morning. Now you probably never hear most people say this, but I am pretty thankful I was scammed on Facebook Marketplace. And here is why. I present this lovely class baler. Now for those of you that aren't in agriculture, if you don't know what a baler is, it basically makes the grass into a bale like that. And yes, you heard it right, I was scammed. So, but I'm kind of thankful I was scammed. Now what do I mean I was thankful I was scammed? Well, sometimes scams can be quite good. Now, I'll tell you why. If you get something cheap enough, but you're scammed on it, like misled or sold something that doesn't work that should have worked, but you got it at a cheap enough price, and you're able to fix it for less than the market value of that item, then technically, although you've been scammed, it's kind of for the best. Now, my baler I've had for 6 months and I've used it all season. And it's been surprisingly good. Now, if you haven't seen my previous video, then where have you been? But firstly, there's a link up here somewhere that will take you to the original video of when I purchased the baler, and then also there's another video where I fixed the baler. But essentially some of the gears and chains and stuff were just mangled together. Now, the whole story is quite elaborate, but basically I fixed it best as I could, which you'll see in that video if you click on the video up here, or it's in the description. Now, I kind of temporarily fixed it because I didn't know whether it was actually, you know, the rest of the systems and the net system and the other stuff was going to work, so I didn't want to spend a fortune on it. And pleasantly, the rest of it does work, not without a few hiccups, which we'll look at in a second, but it does work, and it has made 400 bales this year, which is pretty good. Not as many bales as I would like, but it has made quite a few, which is good. So really this video is just about the extra story from that video to now and how well the balers work this season, because I am finished for the year, which is wonderful. So just before we get into that, if you haven't done already, please hit the subscribe button or ring the little bell and you'll be notified of my videos every Tuesday and Friday. So let's look at some of the issues, and then, yeah, we'll just look at some of the issues now. So the first issue is there's a gauge here which leaks. It's not a terrible issue, that really, but nevertheless it's an issue, and a gauge is quite expensive, but that's not too much of a problem. Now we'll go around the other side and we'll have a look at a more problematic problem, shall we say. Right, the biggest problem with the baler now, I'll present a netting system. So essentially what happens is, if you don't know, some of you might know, but you might not. So essentially what happens is you've got your roller net wrap. This is a brake which stops this from spinning. Goes through these tensioner bars up to this big roller at the top, and then it just gets fed in, and then there's a knife. I don't know if you can see that. That there is a knife which then cuts it. Now the biggest problem I have at the moment is, now spot the difference between this one and this one. If you guessed, you're pretty good. Leave it in the comments now. So essentially, this one here, net wrap all the way to the edge, yeah? No untidy bits. These doesn't go all the way to the edge. Big, ugly bits that stick out. Nobody likes that. This net wrap here, which you can see is coiled together, should be all the way down there. Now I hear you ask, why is that? Let's go and have a look. Right, we're back on the baler. I'm going to explain as best as I can what the situation is here, or what I think it is. So the first thing, I think, which hasn't helped my situation, is cheap net wrap. Never buy cheap net wrap, not worth it. But essentially, after it's gone through these tensioner bars, it comes up to this spreader bar. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but essentially it goes in there, out here, and then in again that side. Now that basically spreads it, so it should move this net over there, because the way it's just well, I don't know what the word is for that, but yeah, it's not flat essentially, so it spreads it out either side. Now the problem is it spreads it out to there, but then this rubber roller, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but essentially the rubber roller is trying to do the opposite. So it's swollen this end, so it's the opposite of this bar, which means that it essentially goes like that. So this end is further out than this bit. So for example here, I could pull that, that's loose. Here, the rubber roller's caught it. And that's because each side has swollen. So what's happening is this is spreading it, and this roller here is pushing it back in, which makes it not edge to edge. I hope that's good enough explanation. Maybe a little bit complicated, but hopefully a good enough explanation. So, I hope you now understand what's happening to this net wrap system. That is probably the single biggest issue with the baler at the moment, is that rubber roller. Now, I've got a couple of options, and a couple of people have said I could get it machined, or you can get a replacement one. It's about 600 quid, I think. Will I do that? I'm not entirely sure. To me, though it's annoying, I might just live with it for 600 quid, really. But I'm unsure. So I want your suggestions in the comments of what to do to fix that roller, or a solution to the problem. But back to the original purchase of the baler, I was, like I say, sceptical about how much of the rest of it was going to work. But now I know that it all fully works, I may invest some money into it and fix the rear sprockets properly. If you don't know what I'm on about, then watch the other video. But basically my overview and my, what do they call it? I don't know, my 6-month review. Should we just call it that? A little review of my Facebook baler. It's pretty good. Like I say, it's made these bales. The netting system itself has actually been pretty flawless. I think over 400 bales I've had to get out twice. I've had to get out twice, not because it hasn't fed the net wrap, but basically I think what's happened is if you don't open the door all the way, it doesn't reset the knife. So I had to manually reset the knife twice. But other than that, it's been flawless. I've had to get out to change the net wrap, obviously, but other than that, it's been pretty good. The net brake's been a bit problematic, but that, again, is because that rubber roller isn't actually gripping hold of the net in the middle, which is what's causing that problem. But other than those little small niggly problems, the baler's been pretty good. So when I said I was kind of glad to be scammed, I kind of am, to be fair. I didn't get it that cheap, realistically. It wasn't much below market value. And then obviously I had to get someone to pick it up on a low loader and bring it here. So I'm probably in it at market value now. But nevertheless, it has saved me a hell of a chunk of money this year. I think I've probably done maybe 1,500 quid in expenses with net wrap, fuel, and just general sort of wear and tear sort of stuff. I'm probably at 1,500 quid instead of a comparable £5,000–6,000 contracting bill. So subsequently it saved a lot of money, and that money is money that can now be spent elsewhere, which is quite nice. That elsewhere you'll find out in a future video. But yes, so my kind of review of the baler is it's good, it works, it does the job very well. And if I could just sort that net roller problem out, then it would be a 10 out of 10, really. I can't see any other flaws with it. Realistically, I need a bigger tractor to go on the front of it, but that's a different subject altogether. So yeah, I hear you ask, would I buy another one? Absolutely yes. A lot of people said that a Welger is basically a class but better built. I disagree. Completely disagree. Sorry to those Welger fans out there, completely disagree. But I think for the money that you can pick one of these up for, especially a 255, for the money you can pick it up for, I don't think there's a comparable baler in terms of build quality, but also simplicity. It's a very simple machine. Very simple, really. There's really not a lot to the machine, which obviously makes any repair bills 10 times cheaper, and it just makes it a more I would say trustworthy machine. You know, it's less likely to break because there's less complicated gadgets and gizmos and mechanisms, and for example, if you want to add an extra layer of net wrap to your bale, you do it manually by moving a nut rather than on a control box, which then goes through electronic solenoids and sensors and all that sort of shit that goes wrong all the time that you don't want. So it's really, like I say, simple machine. You can't adjust the bale size particularly, but that doesn't matter to me. Like I say, that gauge leaks, but I might just do away with the gauge anyway because, well, who cares, innit? You just go off the bale density rather. But other than that, I would say she's a well-built machine. Now, am I tempted to put knives in it? It is an RC, it is a rotor cut, it can take knives. Would I put knives in it? Yes, I probably would. Do I have the knives? No, I do not. Would I buy the knives? Potentially. I probably wouldn't put a full set of knives in there, just because I ain't got a big enough tractor and I don't want to put it under too much force. But I think for the haylage, it would be quite good to kind of have like every other third one maybe have a knife. I know the knives don't go on there, they go under there, but so it's sort of chopped into 6 inches, maybe 5 inches. They just go under here and all this that needs blowing out. Oh, there's a pipe in there. What's that about? What's that for? Didn't notice this before. Oh, I don't know what that is. What are you doing here? Looks like it should be some sort of cable trunking, but oh, I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, like I say, she's a pretty good machine. I might just open the back door and we'll have a look in it actually. Welcome inside of a class baler. Like I say, there's not a lot to them. This roller's taken a bit of a beating. I don't know how long that one's got left in it. This one, front one, looks alright though. This little guard at the end's also murdered, but that's just sort of general wear and tear, that really, more than anything. That one started to go through. It's obviously done quite a bit of work, but yeah, that roller does look a little bit on the worn side. The rest of it looks alright though. Shiny, obviously, because I've been making hay. It's all pretty still there. This unit that does something with bale density, something or another, is pretty good. It just needs a little patch in there, because that's got a bit shiny McDiny. But other than that, she's pretty good. It's actually the only second time I've looked in it, to be fair. But yeah, so like I say, they're well built, I think, personally. Simplicity is there. They're a very simple machine, really. Simple enough that if the control box dies, you can just rewire it yourself. And I think it's about all that you need, especially for just a beef and sheep farmer like myself. I'm not contracting, I'm not doing, thousands of bales a year. So yeah, that's about that. I reckon that's probably a rock that's come up in it, that. Which is a bit annoying, probably from the last field. But yeah, the knives go in here. So, oh, the knives are there. Oh, that changes things a little bit, doesn't it? Maybe I could figure out how to engage them, and then we could chop some grass. See, interesting, learning new things every day. Right, on that note of finding some knives, which I didn't know I had, I think we'll end this video here. I really just wanted to have a little bit of a chat about it and just let you know how I got on. My repairs have held extraordinarily well, probably because they're not actually drive gears really, they're just idlers for these rollers at the back, which are all still in one piece, which is wonderful. So, I hope you enjoyed. That is probably the end of the journey for the class baler and talking about my purchasing, because how long are we going to go on for it? Instead, we'll just buy some other piece of junk off of Facebook Marketplace instead. because that's where I see myself in my future life, buying junk off the marketplace. Ooh, a bit cattywampus there. So, that being said, hope you'd enjoyed. Leave any of your comments in the description. There's a load of links in the description you can check out as well. And I will see you in the next video. And please, while you're there, like the video and subscribe. Peace out.